The way you see yourself, the way you feel about yourself, how you treat yourself, and ultimately what you do with yourself is always going to be reflected in your outside relationships. There is no escaping the relationship that you have with yourself because everything always stems from that. So if you are always finding yourself in relationships or even situationships where you feel like you're not getting the commitment, the care, the respect, and the love that you want, while yes, it's not your fault for the way someone acts towards you or how they treat you, nor are you directly in control of that, but you are in control of what you choose to accept, what you choose to entertain. And right now, you're probably continuously entertaining that type of behavior where you're not getting the things that you want, and instead you're thinking that this is the best that you can get because your self-image, your self-concept can't conceptualize that you could ever get anything better than the bare minimum. So instead of removing yourself from those types of situations, you choose to continue to entertain them and to stay in them even though you know they're not that great for you. And this is exactly why self-image, self-concept is so important, because when you don't have a strong one, you do not know who you are. You aren't rock solid in knowing what you deserve, what you are worthy of, and instead you let other people decide that for you. You place your value in how other people treat you, in the actions and behaviors and words of other people, instead of taking that into your own hands and deciding that for yourself. You haven't truly internalized your own value yet, and you don't really see it. And instead, you wait around for other people to tell you how much you're worth, to wait for other people to tell you how you should feel about yourself. Before we get deep into it, I want to quickly announce that I have a new 12-month group experience, Dreamer Circle, that is out now. So exciting. And yes, it is 12 months because we are playing the long-term game. We are not doing this for short-term gains. There's going to be 3 exclusive courses inside: self-love, self-concept, and manifest love/SP. And a ton of other resources that go into a lot more depth that I can't really go into more detail here. You'll have the opportunity to get one-on-one coaching and one-on-one advice from me as well, so you'll want to be there. Back to the video, it always comes down to what you think you deserve and believe. But the problem is, you may logically know in your head, like, of course I'm deserving of this type of relationship, of course I'm deserving of this type of treatment, of course I deserve to be spoiled like a princess. You logically and consciously, you know this in your head. But what I see happen a lot of the time with the people that I work with is that there is this mismatch between consciously and logically knowing that of course they deserve X, Y, and Z, versus actually feeling this on a DNA level and embodying it on an identity level, this knowingness of what they deserve and standing so solid in that nothing on the outside can waver them. And obviously when we close this gap together, we start seeing changes in how people show up for them and the circumstances that they find themselves in without them having to chase any of that. They stop entertaining the relationships, the friendships that only drain them of their energy and are not deeply fulfilling because they aren't afraid to drop that out of their life anymore. If you are in a relationship, but you are always thinking, oh my gosh, this person is so out of my league. I'm so lucky that they chose to be with me. I'm so grateful that they love me back. Like, honey, it makes me sad to hear you thinking like this, because I do get a lot of people telling me they feel this way. And it's so sad to me because you should be feeling like, of course they do. Of course they would want to be with me because I have so much to offer. I need you to know that your energy, your existence, your presence alone has innate value. Yet you're blind to that. And you think love is something to be earned on the outside. You think your value is something on the outside. And if you're thinking that way, it shows me that you don't have the best self-concept or self-image, because you are seeing other people as higher up than you. You're putting them on a pedestal. And the reason we put people on a pedestal is because we don't see the value in ourselves. We put people on pedestals when we see the value in them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be putting them on a pedestal. The only reason you put people on a pedestal and center your life around them is because you see value in them. Yet in doing so, that takes away from you seeing the value in yourself. Maybe even for some of you, you didn't have the healthiest relationship with your parents growing up, and it felt like nothing you ever did was enough, and you would have to chase their validation and their approval and earn their love through doing all these difficult things. Because if you didn't, then that would mean they don't love you. You took this idea of, okay, I have to do X, Y, and Z and give them the world in order to make someone love me, in order to earn the love of someone else, instead of realizing that love is just your birthright. Maybe you took that dynamic into relationships as well, and you feel like they will not love you unless you go above and beyond for them, unless you treat them like a king or queen, unless you completely sacrifice your own needs and wants to cater to them and literally worship them so that they can see you and appreciate you. If you guys are feeling this way, I can relate, and I've been there, so I know. And I want you to know that this can change. You can change. Nothing is set in stone. If you are willing to put in the work, then it is possible. Not even your beliefs or old programmings that you've had since you were a child are set in stone, and they can be changed if you allow them to be. And we change this through our own beliefs, our own core beliefs about ourselves, how we see and feel about ourselves, our self-image, our self-concept. Everything always comes back to that, and you might as well put in the work now because you can't run away from it. If your image of yourself is very, very poor, very, very low, then people are not going to see the value in you no matter how much you try and convince them to. If you disrespect yourself, if you abuse yourself, if you neglect yourself to kiss other people's feet because you want them to love you, which, by the way, all stem from a lack of self-love, then that will be the experience that you end up experiencing. That will be the reality that you end up experiencing. You won't feel respected. You won't feel cherished in your relationships, and you're going to feel like you're not prioritized. You're going to feel abused. You're going to feel neglected, because that's exactly how you are treating yourself as well, by putting you last. And you have to take accountability of that if you want to change, because while you cannot directly control what people say and do to you, you can control how you react, what you choose to accept, what you choose to entertain, and that will filter out the type of people and the treatment that you will get, and that will ultimately teach people how to treat you. Your relationships can only be an extension of the one that you have with yourself. So you want to take responsibility in making sure that you nurture yourself, you pour into yourself, you cultivate your own self-love from within. You give yourself only the best thoughts, the best beliefs, the best programmings, because you want the best for yourself. And you're not going to neglect yourself or let yourself down. You want to do what serves you and brings out the best in you, because you love yourself. By the way, the message of this video is not to be cold and shut everyone out and to go cold turkey on everyone and cut everyone out from your life, unless that's actually what you have to do. I'm not saying to deliberately hold back from doing kind things to other people, but I'm saying to do them from a place of knowing your self-worth, knowing who you are, knowing your value. When you do them from a poor self-image or a lack of self-love or a lack of self-respect and self-worth, you do them because deep down, even if you don't want to admit it, you are expecting something in return. You are expecting someone's love, someone's validation in return, because you don't feel worthy as you are now. You want someone to make you feel worthy, but you have to choose to feel worthy and important and valuable now. Choose to feel like the gem and the diamond that you are. Most of the time, people think that if they give a man the entire world, then they will do the same for them, and so he'll stick around. But in reality, that's often not the case, because they're doing it from a poor self-concept, and they're doing it because they don't see the value in themselves, and they want someone else to give them that value instead of going within and seeing that value within themselves and internalizing it. I want you guys to do some reflecting and notice the difference between how people show up to you when You're acting from a place of knowing your worth. You're acting from a place of confidence and self-love versus acting from a place from the lack of it, from a lack of self-love, from a lack of self-worth, from feeling like you're not enough. Notice how people respond to those two different types of energies, because they are very different. When you're giving from a place of confidence and love, you're not actually expecting anything in return. You're giving from overflow. But if you are doing them from a place of not feeling enough, not feeling worthy, unconsciously you're actually expecting love in return. You're expecting them to validate you in return. And that puts you in a very powerless position, because now you have to be waiting for them to do that for you instead of giving it to yourself. So if you want a fulfilling relationship where you are loved, cared for, respected, prioritized, then make sure you are doing the same with yourself. Have a checklist. Ask yourself, am I giving myself the love that I am seeking in someone else? Am I giving myself the respect that I am seeking in someone else? Am I giving myself the priority that I desperately want this other person to give me? Because if you aren't, then that's double standards, and you need to start doing that for yourself. Because when you take care of that relationship with yourself, indirectly you will take care of every other relationship you have in your life. You got this, guys. I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.